I'm in frame, but am I in frame?
No, you're from your mustache down.
Am I too close?
Yeah.
Does that be too, like...
Yeah.
So...
No, too far up. Well,
hold on.
That's good, you're center. I don't know why. It's definitely not CO2. It's just like, I think because I pointed that up, whatever was still lingering up there. Here.
Alright.
I blew it back down.
Welcome to Bro Joe Bills. We're gonna die of carbon monoxide poisoning. Here on video for you guys to watch. Slowly. Slowly but surely you can watch us die. And it's gonna be amazing. I can probably add that in. Welcome to Bro Joe Bills. Today we're gonna be working on a 5.3 and we're gonna be doing a full rebuild. Probably break this up into about 3 parts. And right now we're gonna start filming the freshening up of the block and getting the block ready. And again, this is gonna be a full rebuild. We're gonna do all the bearings and you get to join along and see us as we go along. All right. Oh, and we're also gonna be doing a DOD delete. You're gonna be seeing some of my friend Carlos in this video.
Hey guys,
and you guys gonna hopefully enjoy this piece. It's gonna be a DOD delete. We're gonna put an aftermarket cam. This is gonna be going in an 07 Tahoe, so it's a Gen4 5.3. So hope you enjoy, and this is gonna be amazing, I think. All right. So I already did 2 bores, and again, this block is stripped down completely. We took out all the bearings, all the cam bearings, and it's just right now pretty much a bare block. I honed out 2 cylinders, and we'll do the rest of them, and you come along and see what exactly we do. So you can see a cylinder. Yeah, we got some surface rust in here. I like to take a rag and just, you know, blow my hand through it, and then hit it with some. You can use WD-40, any type of lubricant, really. Lubricate it nice. And I got my Tinkerball hone here. And we're gonna vigorously shove the hone in and out of the cylinder for about 15 seconds. So you count in your head or whatever. Maybe look at the timer. Maybe I get a little bit off, but about 15 seconds. Not exact science here.
Did I do that?
Well, try not to stop in the cylinder wall at all, and try not to do that. You see how worn that is? From over abuse. Alright, give it a good 6 more seconds.
So I say you start that over and
Do another one.
I already done 3 cylinders. And we're gonna do number 4. Just 2.
Alright, so let me make sure you can see here. Alright, so let's shove some light, and you guys can see the finish of the bore. So this is what we finished off with, and this is what we had before. So finished and what we had before. So we're gonna go back and do the rest of them. Hopefully we don't have the ball hole pop off like you saw us do before. Again, we're not perfect here. We're broke, so it's Bro Joe Garage, so nothing's perfect here.
It's like a combination of like CO2, brake cleaner.
These dudes just died. Their lungs just evaporated. They didn't have no lungs. We've never seen it before.
We died from COVID anyway.
Exactly. Still eventually die from COVID. Somehow. And that's how children are made.
You're gonna get banned from this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I had sandpaper around here. I was gonna put it on the lawn block so we can like.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask for next.
I mean, I have like.
I kind of left my lifter home, and it would have been nice to just run a quick home to the lifter boards, but they look clean. There's no real rust in them, so we'll just clean them out later on with brake clean, and it should be good enough. As you can see, we're not even gonna board this motor over. You know, there was no ring ridge. The board is perfectly fine, and this is something that you see a lot with newer engines. The ring packs are a lot thinner on these engines, on most newer engines, so you don't get a lot of ring ridge, and the boards actually last longer. So thinner rings help seal. They do a better job at sealing, and on top of that, they do a little bit better job in saving the block for longevity wise. So that's one deck side, and we'll rotate the block and do the other side.
A few moments later.
And that's how a block gets race prepped, pretty much for LS. It's a very simple, you know, just clean the decks, surface and stuff like that. And again, whether you're building a high performance build or just a stock rebuild like this is, well, it's not bone stock rebuild, a rebuild with a cam, you know, the LS's platform is very forgiving, so just clean it up and slap it together, just like a basic rebuild will go. We're gonna rotate the block now, and you know what? We probably should clean the block now. And so we're gonna use a lot of brake cleaner because we don't feel like bringing the power washer right now. It just snowed out here in the Northeast, and it's like, I don't know, probably right under 30 degrees today. So, and as we come into the shot, you will realize that Carlos is an insane person, as he has shorts on.
Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
Those beautiful legs.
Sleeveless. 365.
Few moments later.
Alright. So what I use, so we just got the block inside, and we just spray it down with brake cleaner, and we clean the block up. This is ATF. We use automatic transmission fluid and in a bottle. I learned this trick from a machinist, and you just spray everything down, and it'll keep everything from rusting on you. And it's a nice thin coating to have, you know, to protect everything. So you just squirt it, wipe it down, and it'll keep everything from flash rusting. So this is all we're doing here, just keeping everything from getting really crusty on this.
KY jelly is not recommended.
No, that's not recommended. It just gets everything greasy. It has no ill effects. Back in that day, whenever your engine used to gunk up, they actually used to tell you to put a quart of ATF to help clean out the gunk out of your engine. So, I mean, obviously it's thinner viscosity. You're not going to want a ton of it in your engine, but coating it inside your block will have no ill effects, mixing with oil or anything to worry about in that nature. Alright, this is a piston and rod assembly. Used, of course, that came out of the motor. So I want to take the ring pack out, and I'm going to clean the piston up and show you how we go about doing that. So look for the ring grooves. Use a pick tool or a flathead screwdriver, and pick each ring out. Mind you, off camera I already did the previous 7, and I saved the best for last for you guys. Obviously it's rinse and repeat. There's no difference between ring number 1 or ring number 7 or 8 for that matter. Again, these rings we're obviously not going to be reusing. We're going to put a fresh set of rings. So there's a custom tool we have laid out here. It's just literally a drill motor tied to a bench vise with a brass wheel. And we'll turn this on, and this will help clean the piston up. So again, this is what we're starting with. You see, the most important part when cleaning the piston up isn't so much to get all this dirty stuff, the carbon, which we're gonna clean up, is more or less cleaning the ring grooves, so when we put the fresh rings in, that they're not gonna hang up. So right now we're just pretty much gonna clean out the outside of the piston, and I'll show you how we clean the ring grooves next. Let's take the piston. Again, we'll clean the side skirt of the piston right here. So, again, just to reiterate, this is a piston after we cleaned it up. Again, it only took a few minutes. We were able to clean the side of the piston. But as you can still see, the ring grooves still have plenty of carbon, and that's what we really want to work out, and I'll show you how we get that out right now. So without further ado, alright, so right now I have this piston sitting inside a bucket of gas. I'll probably leave it there for a good 10-15 minutes, and we just let it soak in there really good, and we'll get back to it in about 15 minutes.
Few moments later.
So we pulled the piston out, examine everything. Another thing to think about is if you look at a piston and you see any cracks in that piston, just throw it out. You need a new piston. If you see any breaks on the ringlands, don't waste your time. The piston's no good. Again, for an LS application, pistons are cheap, so don't be cheap. If you have to spend money somewhere, spend the money. So I'm gonna show you my really expensive, high dollar piston ring cleaning tool. It's an old ring. So you take your old ring, you take it out, you either break a piece, this one didn't break, so it bent, and you just use it and run through the grooves. And again, this is of the whole procedure of cleaning the piston, this is literally the most important part, because you're gonna be putting the rings through here, and you don't want the rings to fetch. You want the rings to spin freely on the piston as need be. And if you have a lot of carbon buildup, it's not gonna move as nicely as it should. So this is a place where you should, take your time and just make sure you get it right. And a rebuild like this is more your time and labor versus spending the money. This whole rebuild is gonna be done fairly cheap, and you could copy and do a similar rebuild yourself. But that doesn't mean that you sacrifice your time. You do a good job, and when you do a good job, you could save yourself money. I think we're almost done here. We got everything fairly cleaned up. I do one more quick pass through. One more quick pass through. And now, again, it's not going to be super, easy to see from there, but all the grooves are cleaned fairly well, that I know for a fact that when I put the rings in here, I'll be able to spin nicely, and you got most of the gunk out of it. So one more thing that I want to do to this, I had two pistons like this one that are just a little tight on the pin, so it's moving on the pin but not as smoothly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the lock ring out, and we'll knock the piston through a little bit. So I'm going to do this off camera, and I'll show you the difference after we're done. So again, this is how it is now, and all we're going to do is take out one of the lock rings out. Matter of fact, I'll do that in front of you right now. So you can see where the lock ring ends. All you're gonna do is you're gonna put your thumb on the one side, so you don't keep the ring from flying out and hitting you in the eye. And you stick a small screwdriver in the little slot they provided, and you're just gonna put a little pressure, and it pops up like this, and you took the lock ring out, and you turn it around, and right now there's a little bit stuck on the pin, so we're just gonna tap it out off camera. I'm gonna just knock it out, use something that fits around the board nicely, and like a small socket, and with a hammer tap it, and you'll tap it right through. So I'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and sometimes if you look inside the grooves inside the pistons here, you have a little aluminum that may have sprouted up, and there's a reason why the pin kind of fetched inside the piston bore. Another thing, at times, right, the brass bushing that it pressed into the rod, it just gets a little dry.
Did I do that?
Don't drop the piston. if need be. We're good here. But at times it gets a little dry, and because it's dry, you know, it kind of gets fetched in the bore. So you could use either WD-40 or a little engine oil. I got some your WD-40 equivalent. Spray the bore, and we see here it's not moving freely. So look inside the bore. It looks good. It may have like a little high edge, so put some engine oil. Woo. Alright. So now we're moving a lot freer here. And we get the piston, and we'll do a little bit of the same. I'll push this through. It might need a little motivation. I literally put it in crooked. Alright. Alright, we're sliding through now. I just dropped the screwdriver in the gasoline. Alright, I'm gonna use a socket to knock it all the way through off camera real quick. You might be able to hear it.
This is the time you need to throw in the SpongeBob meme. 1 minute later.
See, I don't know how to do that. Alright.
You just take a video clip. You find it and put the clip in.
You just asked me how I edited the videos. I hardly know how to do that. So, I knocked all the way through, bottom mount over here. You can see how nice and free it's on the pin right now. So when you're putting the lock in, this is the easiest way you do it. Again, I have rubber gloves on. Ain't the nicest, the easiest way to do it, I guess. But you stick one end into the groove, and you push against it. Now, you see how it is here? You put one finger on it, you hold it down, you use a flathead screwdriver, and you're gonna pry down the middle of it. And it pops in place. Make sure it's in all the way, like right now, this is halfway in. And now it's all the way in. So make sure it's locked into the groove. See how nice and free it is? This is ready to go on. So right now I'll take the oil, add it to the pin, put a little oil on the shaft.
That's mad sus.
So that on the connecting rod, so it doesn't rust up on you. And all right, I set it on the table and it's ready to go. So on to getting the crank polished. Okay, so this is the crank. I already had polished the first few just to save time on video. So I wanted to polish the last two journals here, and I'll show you how I went ahead and did it, and just using what I had around in the shop. So again, I had just used some oil, some spray, again WD-40, wherever, lubricate, the journal. Make sure you get oil all the way around. And because this has a little surface rust, because it was sitting inside the block for a while, without, you know, being exposed to elements a little bit, I'm just going to touch it with 180 real quick. Let me find it real quick. Alright, so this is a 180. This is a little bit aggressive. I would normally use something a little bit thinner, but this is all I had available to me locally real quick. And I didn't want to waste time looking around for paper. So we're going to just scuff it real quick just to get rid of the rust and get rid of anything that's rough. So make sure there's no extra dirt or debris on it. Make sure the paper itself is clean. You don't have like a piece of stone or a big chunk of dirt hanging. Now, generally you use like a leather shoestring, but again, I didn't have a leather shoestring. So what we got here was my friend's idea. My friend Carlos. He said, will this work? And we were able to make it work. It's just a leftover valve cover gasket. And we just wrap it around here. Again, the leather shoestring will probably work a little bit better, but this was definitely good enough to do the job. You just want something to wrap around and grip the paper. And get it around here and just back and forth. Paper slid off. But just rinse and repeat until, you know, you get the rust out of it. And then we'll step up to a 320. If the journal was clean, like the next journal that we're gonna go to, we're gonna skip this step altogether and go straight to the 320. So run it through, looking pretty good. All right, it flew off, but I think we're not gonna need it. I mean, just on the camera right now, I'm sure that you could see a huge difference from what we started off with. Now we'll step up to a 320 paper again. Make sure there's no dirt on it. Get some lube. Make sure it's covered. Wrap the journal. And now wrap the sandpaper. Now my whole point is not to get a mirror finish. It's more or less clean the surface. You know, if you want to get a mirror finish, that's on you. I don't think it's necessary, and for this application is not the point. We're just cleaning up the surfaces so that, you know, we had nothing to impede and mess up the bearing. Make sure you just go over it real nice. Alright, now that definitely polished up fairly decent. And we'll just hit it and finish it off with some crocus cloth. So you can use this or 600 grit. Wrap it. And finish. All right. And that journal's clean. So rinse and repeat. I do this last main journal. And now I'm just gonna clean up the surface where your rear main seal is gonna go on. So you see the seal rides right here in the middle. All I wanna do is, you know, take out any of the heavy stuff around, so when you knock your seal in, it doesn't tear the seal. At times when you have a rough surface, it's hard for the seal to actually do its job, especially when you go to slide it on. At times it can mess up the seal. This wasn't really super bad, but if we're already here, it's best to do a good job. You know, I just never understood why people cut corners when they're already so deep into a project. This is not where you really want to cut corners and have to go back and do things again. So you have a oil leak, and let's say in this situation you got an oil leak right where you have to drop the transmission and hopefully get the back plate and hopefully be able to get around the crank to clean it up. No one wants to do that twice. Yeah, we clean it with the red. Spray it. And we'll do a quick polish with the white. And it's not perfect, but it's definitely much better than what we started off with. Obviously, the most ideal thing it will be to send it out to the machine shop and have the machine shop, you know, polish the crank for you and do all this stuff for you. But doing it yourself will save you, you know, a good $100. So the money you save there, you can put in more into your project, especially when, you know, a crank like this on the LS seldomly needs to get cut unless, you know, you lost oil pressure and you have a real chewed up crank. At that point, just get a new crank. Alright, voila.
That's awesome!